Hey guys, we got a special day today. We're gonna install a set of Sparco QRT-C racing seats in this 2020 track edition. So I got these a few months ago, just been collecting the parts needed to install them. Finally got everything I needed, but I wanted these seats because they were hard to find, really. They were the last two in the States available. I think they might have done another batch. They might be mid-December, so in about half a month they should be available again, but these were the last two when I bought them. So I really like the clean look, kept it kind of classy, kind of a weight weenie. So I wanted it as light as possible, but still kind of classy. So these ones, they're full carbon, but they're the leather wrapped, not the cloth ones. So the cloth ones are typically 12.5 pounds is what Sparco says they are. These ones weighed in with my kind of mass skills, basically 16.5 pounds. So it was like a 4-pound penalty. So, but I think it's worth it for the classiness of these, and just due to the fact that it matches the interior really well. So if we go to the current interior, so this is what's in it, stock. They're Recaros. They're nice, but they're heavy, somewhere around 60 pounds. But you can see the red stitching. Let's see if we can see the red stitching. So I think quite honestly, I think the new seats are going to be a better fit for the interior. It's going to match better. So that's one portion of it, but I think something equally as exciting is I wanted a solid mount and Planted as, you know, the people to go to. But the downside was weight. Like I said, I was a weight weenie, or am, and so I ordered a set. And when I got them, I was like, you know, I can kind of make a lighter version. And so I reached out to them to see what we could do. And then I kind of eyeballed some CAD. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. And then send over the sketches, the drawings. And so what I did was basically skeletonize it, because here's the factory one. I got a set of those and a set of these custom ones. And so we skeletonized these little slots. Don't really do anything in the center, and typically they have a lot of kind of meat on the sides for custom situations, but I'm running all Sparco stuff, and yeah, so I didn't need all that. So we skeletonized it. We try to lighten it up as much as possible. So even like things like the bracket, so you have this bracket that kind of comes in from the side. This one's ever so slightly lighter, but it's the same location. So things like that, and managed to get, you know, all that work. So it was about a 2-month kind of lead time to get these custom done by Planted, and cool guys for sure. I mean, to work with me, to have just a one-off, super cool guys. So I think this would be an option, quite possibly, since they already have the machine set up. So any of you guys that want a light version, this is it. I already paid the the price for having them do it. So for them to hit the green button, I don't think there should be a price difference between the two. So, yep, thank you. You can tell me in the comments how awesome I am for doing that. But yeah, so the total weight per bracket. So these ones weigh 7.9 pounds, and then these ones weigh 6.8 pounds. So it's 1.1 pounds lighter. So that kind of, I wanted the classy leather ones rather than the cloth, so I kind of try to make it up in other areas where I would have that as light as possible scenario, but with a nice classy look. You can see how low profile they are. So here we got the mounts. So these are like the side brackets. Some people call these like mounts, some people call them brackets, and then some people call the bases brackets. So it's all sorts of vocabulary craziness going on. But these are the sliders. Now the sliders I weighed in at 4.6 pounds. I'm sorry, 4.9 pounds. I'll have to look at I'll pull up the spreadsheet in this video, but I was thinking about it. I'm just going to run one, one for the drivers, and I'm going to match the depth with the passengers. So I'm going to match what's good for me on the driver's side, because this thing is a track edition. There is no back seat. It just has cloth. There's nothing for people to sit on, unless you want to sit on the cloth. That said, I'm never gonna go back there. The only reason I even want one is for the the going back to basically just clean the rear window, the inside window. All right, so that will shed 5 pounds from original calculations. So that means, according to the spreadsheet that I put, I think it was about 60 pounds, 62 pounds, something like that. But I said, what better way to figure exactly how much weight it reduces by just, rather than tallying up, this saves this saves that, and have a theoretical one. I got my scales out. So what we're going to do today is measure the car as it is before the seats, and we'll look to see what that is. And then after I'm done installing everything, we'll weigh it again and see exactly what it is. No finicky business, no magical math like gibberish. We're just going to see two numbers. So, and then for the electronic side of things, we got basically these airbag delete little things, and seat emulator, like an occupancy sensor essentially. Some people get it out of like an Altima. I just ordered the stuff. But anyways, that's it. So let's go ahead and I'll weigh it. We'll see what that is, and then I will swap everything over and weigh it again. All right, so we got the car in the scales to baseline the weight before we swap over these seats. It's got about a gallon, maybe 2 in the tank. So it's pretty much empty. It's 37.84. So we're gonna install these suckers, put it back on the scales, see what she weighs. Hey, just as a quick tip, you know, these are going in storage, so before you unplug everything, go ahead and, you know, adjust it basically all the way forward. I mean, when you think about when you lay these things down on the ground, you don't want them kind of leaning back and toppling over and that kind of stuff. So just adjust it like this and it should be good to go. All right, so I'm taking the seat out, just kind of as a tip. If you don't have one of these like trim tool sets, I'd get it. I mean, it's super helpful. It was $5 for the whole set. I mean, you'll be thanking yourself later when it comes to removing all these like little plastic tabs, rather than marring up the underseat and the connectors, all that stuff. I mean, this makes it so much easier. It just takes 2 seconds rather than sit there fiddle with it for 5 minutes. So all right, so we got the seats out. They're freaking heavy. I went ahead and put the custom bracket or the base down. It's spot on, so that's exciting. And I went ahead and used this time to vacuum underneath the seats and then kind of had the room to clean the inside of the windows, that kind of stuff. But factory seats are here. Like I said, I don't know, did it myself, but the difficult part is kind of maneuvering them without, you know, nicking something in the interior with the metal brackets and stuff. So you got to be careful not to scratch anything up. The boat's kind of in the way. It's the shrimp. The boat is sick. I think I like the shrimp better than the GTR. Say what you will, but the thing is sick. Love it. All right, so I think we're ready to put together the seats and then install them. All right, so we're about to put this thing together. This is the driver's side seat. So this is everything you need to install the driver's side seat in the GTR. So this one's a QRT-C for carbon seat. This is a QRT rail by Sparco. So this is for the QRT specific seat. You could probably use a standard rail, but I opted for the one specifically designed for the QRT series. So you got the custom mount from Planted, Sparco slider. You have this essentially airbag delete. You have Planted hardware as well as Sparco hardware. So I kind of did overkill on the hardware because I don't want to, you know, make trips to the hardware store and stuff like that. So let's put it together and see what she looks like. All right, so putting everything together. So I decided to use the Sparco socket head cap screws for the screws that you can't see. And they're the same length and thread pitch, but here are the ones that came with the planted bases. So I'm going to use those ones because they're more cosmetically appealing than the socket head cap screws in their place. So you can get titanium ones and stuff like that if you're baller and stuff like that, but I think these are nice enough. All right, just got it finished up, mounted. I have the zinc coated fasteners at the bottom where you can't see them. Everything else is black. Looks pretty good. We're gonna test fit it and then tighten everything up. All right, so we just test fitted the seat. Everything's looking good. I'm gonna bring it in a little to the left and then I'm gonna drop it all the way down. I put it somewhere in the middle to kind of feel it out, but I think the lowest setting is what you want. But Stay tuned. All right, finally finished configuring the seat to the proper, I guess, settings. So I have it basically at the lowest setting. And then something that would have been helpful for you guys that are installing, you know, a Sparco type seat like this, especially this series. Basically those middle slots is where the sliders go, and they push out to the outer edges of the slots. So that's pretty much set in stone, so you don't have to fiddle with adjusting that left to right. One thing that you do have to adjust is the rail to the slider slash mount sub-assembly. You can see I shifted the seat towards the door all the way. So see, this one's all the way to the left, just like that. Because there was a gap between the door and the side of the seat, and then basically this side of the seat was mushed up against the center console, and it was just to the right a little bit. So by doing it this way, everything is hunky-dory. Bit of a pain in the ass to do, but I think next up is doing the seat belts, mounting that, and then mounting these seats in. I just mounted the seat. This is the final settings. As you last saw, it's perfect amount of room. It's perfectly centered. I would stick with these settings for sure. So next up, I'm going to do the passenger side. And the challenge there is going to be I'm running it without a slider. So matching the height, I'm just going to go one hole up. And then hopefully that does it. All right, we have a bit of an issue with the passenger side. So remember I said I wasn't going to run the slider, but decided I was going to run the slider, mainly because of the forward and back settings. I didn't find any adequate holes. Problem is, and I heard this from other people, is the height of the passenger seat is not consistent with the driver's side seat. So here I have it all the way at the lowest setting, and it's like essentially, see if you can capture it, but it's essentially 2 inches taller than the driver's side seat, and even the height is kind of a problem. Another thing is the left and right setting is different than the driver's side. So just like the driver's side, I set the left and right slot the same, and putting the seat as close to the door as possible. But it's a no-go for this one. The width between the center console and the seat is too great, so that's not very consistent. So I'm gonna bring it to the opposite side. But what I'm gonna have to do now is basically take out the slider and drill the holes that I need. So wish me luck. Alright, so I mounted the seat. I didn't mount it, but I put it on top of the mount and kind of traced where it needed to be to match my seating position. And then the height is pretty much spot on. I guess it is spot on. And that's with the driver's side with a slider at the lowest setting is the same height as no slider on the lowest setting. So, and that's just due to the geometry of the bracket. There's no way to really make that base lower with it being flat like that. All right, so this is how I'm doing the seat. So I gotta drill some holes. I went ahead and marked it with a Sharpie in the car that I was showing, and then basically started with the front two. I drew a line on the opposite side to make sure the alignment was fine, and then I cinched the front two down and then drilled into this piece through here, doing the second hole right here. And I think, judging by all the markings, it's looking good. And FYI, this is just a little plastic piece I put, so if I overshoot this thing, it won't, you know, go into the carbon fiber bucket. But I think this is a good way, rather than, you know, not have the seat mounted. I think this is a easier way. You just gotta be careful. So, but I think the alignment and everything is spot on. So we'll mount it here shortly and see. All right, here you have it, folks. It's finished. It's perfect alignment. The first try. That was a good bit of luck. But yeah, you can see why I opted for these seats. The stitching is basically identical. It looks like the car came with these seats. So once again, ran the sliders on the driver's side. Lowest setting is the same height as the passenger side without sliders on the lowest setting. Perfectly aligned left to right. I'm super happy with it. It took forever, but hey, you know, it is what it is. One thing I want to do is, actually, I'm going to install, you know, a half cage and run a harness. I was looking at the seatbelt situation. I might do a bracket, but I'd like to do it nice and neat. So I'll probably install the half cage harness bar. All right, let's put it on the scale, see what she weighs. All right, everyone, it's the moment of truth. It's been a long day. It's finally mounted. Seats look fantastic. Now we're gonna see what this thing weighs in at. $37.15. $37.15. 3715. It weighed 3784 with the stock seats, so that means 69 pounds. That's a good amount. I calculated 65 pounds, but I'll take 69 pounds all day long. Well, that's it. I think the next order of business is the half cage, and I'm going to do a harness, which is going to add 40 pounds, 45 pounds. So, but I think it'll be nice. It'll be balanced and more rigid. Not that a track condition needs it, but so yeah, I'm super happy with how everything turned out. It's been a bit hectic, but we managed to do it in a day, like a day. Well, thanks for joining.